Thanks for joining us for another 5-Minute Murder. As you can tell, I am not at home this weekend. I am actually in Columbus, Ohio for Origins and GDX. I'm here at my booth, so we're going to do 5-Minute Murder from here, namely because I forgot to do it on Tuesday when I had time. So we're going to do it straight here from the convention, and I'm at my booth. So we're going to draw a card. We're going to talk about that killer for 5 minutes, and then we'll go from there. So let's see what we come up with here. Oh, look at this. We got old Javid Iqbal. So I did a serial killers around the world that if you get a chance, you should go and check out the Good Wives Network on Roku and on Amazon Fire. My second episode is on Javid Iqbal. So I'm going to read the card real quick. Javid was born in 1956 and died October 8th, 2001. He was a Pakistani serial killer and pedophile who confessed to the sexual abuse and murder of 100 boys ranging in age from 6 to 16. Iqbal strangled the victims, dismembering the corpses, and dissolved them in acid as a way to conceal the evidence. He was found guilty and sentenced to death in the same manner that he killed the boys, being strangled first, then cut into 100 pieces in front of the parents of the victims, one piece for each victim, then be dissolved into acid. But he committed suicide before the sentence could be carried out. So, old Javid, crazy story, because this guy, and if you want the full story, go and watch Serial Killers Around the World, because I do like a deep dive into Javid there. But this guy had a ton of businesses, and he was pretty well known being a rapist. And he would bring these little boys into the business, and he would do all kinds of like pranks and stuff. He would, give them money and then say that they stole the money, and he would then have to search all the boys, and he would end up, taking them into the back room and raping and killing them. So, really messed up stuff. He owned a bunch of different businesses, but his family was very wealthy. They had a lot of money, and they really fronted his businesses. At one point, he had like a metalworking, like a metallurgy business where he was doing that. And then he opened laundromats, and he had game places where the kids would come in and, play, pinball games and arcade games and stuff. And so that was kind of his whole shtick. And he would eventually end up confessing to killing 100 boys. He said he stopped at 100 because that's what he wanted to do, because he believed that when his mother died, that he needed to get everybody back and make 100 mothers cry for, all the damage that he had done to himself. So it's a really crazy story. He had several accomplices also with him, right? So he had I think 3 or 4 other boys that lived in the house with him that would help him abduct children and do all kinds of stuff. They were all charged, right? They were all charged with crimes. Several of them got, numbers of years in jail. They ended up spending a whole bunch of time in there, and 2 of them actually committed suicide together. So it was Javid and the other boy. Now, we don't know if it was Javid that, kind of coerced him into killing himself, or if it was something else. There's also some speculation that the guards ended up killing both of them, that they beat them and then hung them and made it look like a suicide because of the crimes that they had committed, right? So trying to kind of get back at them with some vigilante justice. But yeah, Javid, crazy case. And I think it's amazing that in Pakistan, they chose to kill him in the same manner that he killed his victims, right? So, going and taking him into the town square where he picked up a lot of his victims, right? Where he would kind of sweet talk the kids into coming with him. They would bind him in the square. They would beat him, strangle him there until he was dead. And then they would cut him into 100 pieces, right? Because that's what he did with the kids. He would cut them up and he would dissolve what he could in acid, and then he would take it to the river that was right down the road, and he would dump the barrels into the river, right? Disposing of the bodies completely. It's why they had no real evidence when they did go to his house, when they finally investigated, because he turned himself in. He wrote a letter to the police describing all of his crimes. They didn't even really believe him because they had no real evidence. He was killing children that were like outcast, and they were all runaways and stuff like that. So there was really no evidence that he had killed anybody, except for when they went to his house and they found his notes, and they found a logbook of all of the murders and all of the kids that he had killed and how he killed them and what he did with the bodies. He had this whole logbook. Crazy, crazy story. And he had set it up so that when they went to the house, they would find several bodies that were currently dissolving in the acid. So he set it up that way so he knew that he would be caught and eventually executed. What's crazy is that he didn't follow through with it, and he either killed himself or was killed by somebody else. So it's hard to say, but fascinating story. Again, if you guys get a chance, check out Serial Killers Around the World on the Good Wives Network, where I do a deep dive into Javed Iqbal, and we really, really get into the nitty gritty of all of his crimes. But thanks for joining me here at Origins. If you guys are in the Columbus area, come out here and come and see us. It's a fantastic time. If you're into gaming at all, it is one of the larger gaming conventions here in the area. So come and see us. Talk to y'all soon.
Without me, I said